So it's the day after Christmas 2022, and I'm getting a little more dialed in on these podcasts. I've got a big vision, and one of the most important parts is really just starting to do stuff. I'll talk a little bit more about that as I go. I'm going to try to bring you along from the podcast here, on the road with me, and then back. We'll probably take a little break. I'm going to head to the gym and get cleaned up after, so maybe we'll do a couple wardrobes. But I think the important thing here for me, for my vision, is, again, just getting started. I've already learned a few lessons on these. I've been a professional in the video industry for almost 20 years, but getting on this side of the camera is definitely, a new and different challenge. I can always envision what I want my talent in front of the camera to say, do, or act, but bringing it out of myself sometimes is a little bit more challenging. Also, we are our own worst critics. I tend to self-censor a lot, and I think, I know who I am, though. I know my strengths. I know communication is not that challenging for me. So I'm sure that I'll get a lot smoother with my on-camera presence as time goes. And I want to, as I try different feels, maybe I try to get more motion in my hands, more emote, more in my voice. I want to make sure I don't get away from being who I am as I'm trying to craft this online presence, this online persona a little more. I always want to stay true to myself. So, the great thing is I understand in a couple years with consistency, this is going to be something really cool that develops into something probably totally different than what I envision now. But there are some elements I think that will follow no matter what path I take. I think it's a really exciting moment. Many adults who are fortunate enough to be, blessed in a life where they have the luxury to worry about what they want out of life and not just focus on how do I survive for the day? How do I have shelter, food, or get away from violence or war or whatever? We as Americans tend to not appreciate a lot of the things that we have because we don't know. We've just always had it. And I'm blessed with this moment in my life at age 40 with a college degree, less than $3,000 away from being debt-free with a good vehicle. And I get to really look at my life and say, okay, what do I really, really want out of this life? I'm 40 now. I hope I have another 40 plus years in me. But time is passing quick. I spent 7 years living in and around Breckenridge, Colorado, and Vail and Keystone. And man, it seems like that time just flew. I spent 4 years building a business that ultimately didn't pan out. And it's just a blink of the eye when you're looking back. So it's really important to get started today. I do have a couple other podcasts I haven't put out. They were really just practice for me. I'll go ahead and put them out there. They're a little rough, but I'll drop them anyways. And just getting on this camera every day, not just for clients and friends' businesses, but for myself and for my own vision, I think is extremely important for me. So soon I plan on having, I'll give you, see just a little bit of the studio / living room here. Pretty soon I'll have a few more things set up to where I can hopefully just come in, sit comfortably, and get started with whatever my subject is. Hopefully stay on path with that subject. So, as I head off today, I'm talking about starting this momentum and moving forward. And I've had, I've got this luxury at this point in life with nothing holding me back from choosing what I truly want my life to look like, becoming the person that I truly want to be. And I think a lot of us go through life surviving, paying bills, mortgage, taking care of family, putting out fires, juggling thousands of things at once, social media going crazy, text. We just get so inundated with just all the motion that's happening around us that we forget that motion and direction, or motion and productivity can be two different things. So for me, I've come into a really fortunate moment where, I have a childhood friend who's been really successful, and some of my particular skill set works really well for his business. And I've had this happen a handful of times. Check out Big Dog Motorcycles. These guys are the world's largest custom motorcycle manufacturer. Channel is at Big Dog is Back here on YouTube. Does it have the @ sign yet? It's Big Dog is Back, but I do all their videos, been to Sturgis, been to Daytona, done cool stuff with them. This company, they do roofing, but we really do anything that makes money. So I'm real excited to have this thing happening in my life right now, which should work really well for me to build what I'm really dreaming of here. So for me, I went from, I followed what society tells you to do, and I think I did it pretty well, Get out of high school, go to college, get a 4-year degree. Took me a little more than 4 years, but I got it. Go get a professional job, get experience, do what you love, never work a day in your life. Became a professional video producer, flying all the time, sometimes flying on clients' Learjets. Wasn't fulfilled with that. Tried to start a business, had some amazing things going right and some crippling deficits and some interesting circumstances. I know now that was all meant to learn from. I didn't know it at the time, but that was all just another step in my education and evolution to get to this place where I'm focusing on going. So I was really driven to start my career in video production. I pretty much achieved what I wanted to really, really quick. I fought really damn hard for it, but then I realized, this is what I got myself into. I really wasn't too interested in living that life that way. Now, in retrospect, if I would have just stuck with it for a while, I would have found myself into a more comfortable life, but that's not me. I've found myself stuck in places of comfort at times, but I don't like comfort. Really, I'm a risk taker. I like change. I like new things, new challenges. But I have started to veer away from those some over time. Old dog, new tricks. I put so much time and energy and money and all the time and energy that went into making that money, and along with my parents' investments in the business. They didn't know they were going to get stuck with a little bit of the tab, and I didn't intend that, but I guess that's the nature of family investment. I had some inheritance from grandparents, and, I realized they were out literally working in the fields on the farm, investing that money to pass to me. And, relatively speaking to others, maybe it wouldn't seem like a huge amount of money, but to me it was significant. It's a life-changing amount, but I wasn't ready for everything that would come with success. I hadn't paid my dues enough yet to earn it, and if I would have gotten there before I was ready without learning those lessons, I think it would have just been a recipe for disaster. I could have made my money and then gone broke again and maybe never come back out of it because I hadn't learned the lessons that I really needed to pick up from the school of hard knocks, and being able to lose my identity as an entrepreneur, redevelop that idea out living in a ski town, lose that identity when I lost my housing there. We'll have more videos about that. It's impossible to try to go to Breckenridge, Colorado and live. I did it for 7 years. It's not possible anymore. You can't do it. You have to live in your car, literally. Anyways, so I had an identity as a professional video producer, really lost interest in that, had an identity as an entrepreneur, and that, when I realized that was not working out and it was time to go to the next phase, I completely lost who I thought I was, but I was pursuing who I also knew I was, and something that was deeply in me. And then 7 years later, that part of me that I fought so hard for to try to life that I tried to maintain out there was gone. And then I'm back at home. I was depressed. I was divorced. I was out of shape. I didn't have any money. And, I found out, well, I have a new identity that I'm developing now with all of this knowledge, all of the experience, all of the scars that have healed from the past and the strength. And, refinding my love of fitness and the gym, learning actually how to eat nutritious and healthy and right, it's helped me refire my entrepreneurial spirit as well. I understand I don't belong even in a really good paying corporate, white collar job. It's not the right thing for me, but I've got all these amazing creative skills and experience that I can benefit myself with while moving towards what I actually want out of my life. Not just how am I going to make my money from 9 to 5. Oh, I'm going to do it having fun with my camera, like developing real sustainable wealth. I'm living beneath my means. You'll see just a glance of the living situation here, which I'm really proud of. I don't own hardly anything anymore. I've got a couple snowboards in my parents' attic. I have a vehicle that serves more valuable purposes in my life than anybody's vehicle ever serves for them. I'll show that to you too. There's nothing like it. This right here is one of my very few possessions. It's a hookah. I wanted one for 20 years. I finally found a moment in life where I had, I was ahead on all my bills, had money in savings, and decided to treat myself a little bit. I got that thing a few years ago, and it'll probably go in the parents' attic too when I hit the road again. But, it meant something to me. It's cool to have friends over and puff on it and hang out. It gives you a good social interaction without alcohol. You can do these without tobacco and other things too. Still, probably not as healthy as breathing clean air, but it didn't get fired up that often. So minimalism is a thing I think I will talk about a lot throughout time, because I've found that it's really helped me in a lot of different ways. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because my cell phone here just died on me. So where was I going? Okay. So I guess what I'm saying now is, I had an identity as an entrepreneur in the past, and that completely got forgotten about during my time out at the ski slope. I even started a business before COVID that was making me some good money, and then things got weird, and missed a payment on the website, and it got shut down, and I it was one of the culminations of signs that said it was time to do something new. So that entrepreneurial spirit was mostly gone, other than that little summer hustle that I had going on. And the culture out there, being one of the top destinations people travel to in the world, was, you can barely survive, but you have the place everybody else spends ridiculous amounts of money in their few days off a year in vacation. So even if you don't have money, you're wealthy through the lifestyle that you can have, the experiences, being active, being outdoors. But there's also an extreme lack of ambition within the community and the culture there, because most of the people that work there don't own homes there. They don't have any wealth. They come from different places like I did. Come out to have a good time. Most of them leave after a season or a few seasons. I was planning on going up there, starting a business with what I'd learned from my first failed business, getting into snowboarding videos. I did produce some, and they're pretty awesome. Check them out on this channel, but I got hurt quick and really kind of threw a wrench in the spokes. So as I keep bouncing around here, the point I'm making is I've had different identities throughout my adult life, and I think that's what's helping me. This fitness identity has helped me stop eating crappy things, stop eating too much, dramatically reduce drinking. I think I've decided that it's something I don't really want in my life anymore. I had enough fun with it, and it doesn't lead to fun now. It doesn't benefit me the way I thought it did, socially during college or something. But now, this next identity is just, it's a lot of the things that were in me before that kind of had been dormant since I lost the identity of entrepreneur, as I shut down and walked away from a business that I believed wasn't really viable with the circumstances and with what I had to bring to the table at the time. I didn't have enough of the tools I needed yet. And I also made another realization. Oh man, if any realtors are watching this, you probably will have some weird feelings about this, but I was doing something extremely innovative. I'm probably not going to give away my trade secrets ever, but if I do, I'm not going to give them to you today. But I can legitimately make the phone ring with real estate leads, unpaid, legitimate, good leads calling to buy and sell houses all day. And I could make millions with that. And I've learned to live out of a car out in Breckenridge, Colorado, and I have this way to make millions, but I also don't want to live that life. It wasn't the right fit for me. And so I am very excited that I've found this passion. I'm still reawakening it, I think, but I get excited that I'm shifting my mindset from a scarcity mindset to one of wealth. I missed the word, but in Breckenridge, you couldn't hardly take any risks because you might not be able to to survive, and then you wouldn't have enough money to even get somewhere else you could. And that's going to be another really good story I'll tell you about, when my car broke down and I was homeless out there and I had a broken ankle and a short-haired dog. We'll save that for another day. But the exciting thing now, I've spent 14 months going to the gym. It was 7 days a week for the first 4 or 5 months. Now it's 4 to 5 days a week. I've got, I'm in there an hour and a half plus a day. I have all this time to think, and I've had a lot of time to do that. I don't go to be social. I put on my headphones. I don't talk to anybody. I just think and do work. And I'm stoked on the fact that I realize I've got all of the tools I need, and I've just had to I had to refine that drive, and I've had to redevelop self-belief. I'm not saying I'm on 100% of where I'm going, but I see it now. I see what brought me from being a kid that read motorcycle magazines thinking they were cool and buying videos of guys doing tricks on them, to being a guy that was out doing stunts with the best stunt riders. I don't claim to have been one of the best, but I was out there legitimately practicing in real stunt spots with the world champion, 3-time world champion stunt rider, around all of the people that they brought me around through all these other guys. And it was because it was something that I dreamt of and I visualized and I was passionate about, and it was destiny, even if it seemed impossible to learn how to ride a big, at the time, 1,000cc bike on one wheel and then do it at 3 miles an hour with no hands on the handlebars. Yeah, I'll show you some of the videos of me doing it. If that doesn't make sense to you, the physics are there, and I'll make a little video about that later on. I just remember I wasn't scared. I was balls to the wall. I was gung ho, and that's the way I was pursuing my first business, I had no idea what I was doing or how to do it, but I just went at it, and then something shifted when I ran out of money and gave up on that business, and then went out to live around a bunch of other ski bums that were awesome, amazing people I can connect with in a way that, I knew everybody in Breckenridge. If they were visiting, some of the tourists could be a little obnoxious, but whether they were visiting or they lived there, they were there to be outdoors and play. It didn't matter what their politics were. It didn't matter what their religion was. It didn't, we were just there to play outdoors in nature. And that's a really cool thing to have in a community, where everybody there has this thing that brings them, that they all share, that they're all passionate about, and it's deep in them. It's not something they've been trained into. They're there for a purpose. My content will probably relate to fitness in a lot of ways. I hope maybe to inspire some people to find the physical activity and nutrition that's good for them, but I'm not a fitness coach. I'm not a fitness influencer, but fitness is definitely becoming a really important part of my life. Excuse me. It's the part of my life that's allowed me to develop, to get to this point where I'm ready to take these next steps, to make these changes, to get back to pursuing the things I'm passionate about, and to believing in myself, knowing that I'm worthy of the type of income I can generate, and not limiting myself with this scarcity mindset. And the gym was part of that. I couldn't have just been like sitting there one day and watched a podcast and been like, wow, that's really inspirational. Okay, now I'm fixed. Now let's go. This has been a process, and I want, what I've told friends and what I'm starting to learn, at least for me, everybody's got their own process, but just start doing something, develop the first habit, and then go to the next. And at least for me, it seems like it's more simple than all the products and hype and everything out there tells you. The thing that, all the V-shred and the ab exerciser and the this and that and the other thing, that they're so busy selling you to look and feel the way you want to look, you rarely hear anybody focus on how much that can affect all the rest of your life. How knowing, I get up at 4 a.m. every day. I don't miss the gym. And it's like, oh, well, I can do this. That's not that hard. Most of these other people aren't doing it. Oh, I can stop eating white bread. Well, that's pretty easy. Oh, I don't need to drink sodas. And I think drinking has become one of those things, I've really recognized, again, it doesn't serve a purpose in my life now. And the habit for me with that was, okay, I don't have a problem not drinking during the week. Well, make sure don't drink on Friday. Okay, you make it through Friday. Don't drink on Saturday. Make it through Saturday. Well, no reason to drink Sunday night. Off to the next week. And the more time I can spend here talking on my camera, building my ideas and editing. I've got a lot of videos in progress now. So for those who are checking in, like, man, you're not dropping videos that much more often. Where are you at? I'm editing a bunch, and there's a big picture here. But all the time and money that I would spend hanging out at the bar or up in the, in the club or whatever, I can put that time and energy into this, which saves me money. It's going to keep me a lot healthier too. So I think it's about time for me to try to take this show on the road here. So let's see. I think my other angle just shut down. Let's take a look, see if we can get this bad boy going again. Phone storage full. Well, darn. All right. In that case, I'm going to kill this one for a second, clear out some space, and then bring you on the road with me. All right, here's the crib. This little TV I set up to play video games to keep me from going to the bar, although I think I've turned it on once maybe. So I don't have a TV, which I'm pretty cool with. There's going to be more, another tapestry on that wall. Mom made that. Mom's a quilter. She makes all kinds of cool stuff. There's a little more of my video production equipment. Other computer. Got the Miggity Mac Daddy MacBook Pro with the M1X. Super fancy top dog chip, whatever. And, yep. So let's go head to the gym. I'm going to take you down and show you around this interesting vehicle I've told you about too. I've got a really consequential to my life video that's a big part of the storyline, which might seem crazy, but it'll make more sense when I drop it. I'll just wait until it's done and until there's the right way to use it. So. It's dirty and you know, it's been snowing and whatnot, so I'll give you a nice clean tour eventually. And I'll show you what we got here. I rolled down the window because it's got dark tint. This is Mr. Burbastic. I've done a lot of cool stuff back here with buddies and was professionally built by another real fancy company. The sun is pretty brutal. When I get off on the exit here, I'll probably have to turn off the phone, make sure I can see well and not put anybody in danger. So, you know, I've been thinking about something lately as I'm figuring all this direction of my life out. And, you know, something I'm extremely grateful for, but I also see that can affect me and many people negatively, in terms of entrepreneurship at least, is a college degree. I'm terribly grateful that I've got it for so many reasons. At the same time, the more time you spend being told to follow directions, given directions and told to follow them, the more that it gets ingrained into that's how you're supposed to function. And in preparing yourself for a career, doing a lot of things, that works really well. Here's your instructions, go do this, clock out, get your paycheck. But it also can construct a barrier that's not there for some people too. You know, you're so busy looking for the structure and direction that's been fed to you through education and early jobs that you feel like that's a necessity for success. When in reality, I think figuring out sorry, Gimbal's messing with me now. Okay, so the important part of the point, you know, the reality is that allowing yourself to be trained into needing someone else to provide that structure and direction can make one feel like they're hitting barriers when they're not actually there. It's like, oh, well, nobody's telling me what to do. Well, what do I do? You know, it's something that I'm just now becoming conscious of. You know, I've always been an entrepreneur, but I didn't yet recognize, well, here's something that really needs to be developed further before this is likely to work. And if it does work before then, I'm probably going to lose what I make and have to learn the lesson and redo it again. So, you know, there are a lot of things that I embrace about being a university graduate, and will always be proud that that is part of the person that I've become, and everything that went into it from, you know, for 3 generations of investment into that degree. But the stuff that I'm working on now, there's no college for. I'm excited that I've kind of acknowledged that that's somewhat of a construct of what I I've been kind of trained into. Recognizing that allows me to start seeing, oh, well, this doesn't feel structured. There's no instructions here. Okay, well, what's the next step? And I really like when I get to the other side of a barrier. Sometimes it really sucks to try to get through one because, if I was working somewhere, I could just go to someone and say, okay, well, what happens next? How much time do I put into this? Is this more important than that? Somebody's going to probably give you the answers unless you're, a real high up director level person. And even then, you're probably going to have input whether you want it or not. As an entrepreneur, a couple of my most successful friends have very low levels of education, but they're still extremely intelligent in the ways that matter for their business, and there's a lot of other aptitudes they've developed that you don't learn with a formal education that they have through that school of hard knocks, through that experience. I'm learning from a successful individual, childhood friend of mine now that we're working together on some stuff. I've also worked with another childhood friend who I've always admired dramatically and see some great things he's doing, but I see some hindrances happening in this guy that on paper would be maybe more poised to succeed, whereas this other guy who on paper might be more poised for a much more mediocre life, yet I see him succeeding at a more substantial level overall. And if these guys hear this, I don't want anybody, don't want you to think I'm comparing anyone. I've learned a lot of great lessons from both of you and continue to do so. But I'm working on, I took a long time. I got myself another industry certification I'll probably never use. I was thinking about going back for my MBA, Master's of Business Administration, and I think it could have had some real value. But I started looking at the amount of time, energy, money, and opportunity cost of what that would take. And I think if I put that same amount of time, energy, and dedication and money into this, what I'm going to do with this vision, with the YouTube channel, social media, everything I'm coming up with, I think will pay off dramatically greater, both in terms of financial wealth, as well as being something, I will succeed at it more because this is my dream, my vision, and I'm not just creating a job for myself as a self-employed person. I'm creating a business and a concept, and I'm not going to be sitting in there 40, 50, 60 hours a week operating it. If there gets to be something that needs that level of operation, I'm going to hire somebody, make sure that it's profitable, and delegate that off so I can keep creating and developing myself, my business, and the things I do, that I love to do, that will make me happy making money. Well, I made it through all that crazy sun. It's funny, I came to the gym 2 days before Christmas, so the day before Christmas Eve, I think, and I was the only person here. The weather was crappy, and I have a fitness influencer I follow, and he said he takes a lot of pride in watching when other people can't handle a challenge and he overcomes it. That was a pretty baby challenge to me. I used to live at over 10,000 feet, so that wasn't much, but everybody's here today. The sun's out, so I'm going to go in there and spend some more time, focusing on myself. Spend a good hour and a half to 2 hours listening to my music and thinking about whatever is the most important. And I'll be back and catch you on the flip side of this workout. Probably dark out by the time I'm done. So whoever's tagging along with me today, I appreciate your interest. These videos are mostly for me, for my practice, and for something to look back on. But I think, there are going to be some tidbits of valuable information in here. I hope that you can pick up on and maybe add some value to you too. And we'll focus on a lot more entertaining content as I get my voice dialed in a little more. So, maybe you guys should throw this video on pause or save it for later and go and get your heart rate up or go do some strength training. I'll be pushing up some weight. Today's legs day. Yep, I never miss a legs day. So I'll catch you guys on the flip. Just got back from the gym. This thing's cool, so I'm putting it on the video. Hang on a second, I'm gonna get everything back in place here and wrap up today's video. So I didn't jump back on camera after the workout because I felt like spending a little time with an audiobook, and went and grabbed some grub. So I'm about to call it a wrap for tonight on this video. Still got to get it edited and get it out there. You know, something I've been thinking about a lot in the last, several days, longer, but real conscious of it recently, is there are people who have so much less opportunity in this world than I do, but they build massively successful lives and futures. It's ridiculous for me to not be absolutely killing it at life with all the tools, skills, and experiences I have at my disposal. I'm starting to recognize, the trait that makes people successful, one of the many, but a really important one is that belief in self, like deeply just knowing inherently that you're going to succeed at your goal, no matter how big and crazy it is. I've got most of this stuff already figured out, down and on lock, and I just haven't been applying it. So, the message to myself is thank you in the future for sticking with it, pushing through the challenges, the times that there aren't answers or there are barriers. People succeed when they get around those and they don't accept the barriers or need somebody else to give them direction of what to do or how to do it. And that's why, that certain trait in some people with far less advantages in life can get them to be far more successful. Those advantages or disadvantages don't matter. It's not even part of the equation. I'm going somewhere, I got problems in my way, I'm going to get past it. I'm just going to go to this. I'm going to kick ass. I might be rebuilding some of this self-belief that I've had before, but I see it now. It's clear. And I do see where I'm going now. It's going to be a little hard to articulate some of this to some people. I don't really have to explain it to anybody right now. Some of this will make sense eventually. Some of it's going to come into its form as it happens organically. But the only reason I'm not where I want to be at this point in life is because I haven't achieved it. And the only person holding me back is that person who's not achieving it, myself. So it's just time to get down. So I'm going to get down. I'm going to keep focusing on getting on here more, developing this aspect of the skill set and part of the plan. And over a decent amount of time, you're going to see some really cool things on the YouTube channel here and things that develop and grow beyond that. But for right now, I hope everybody has a great evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is. And, I'm not saying that you can just all of a sudden be like, oh, wow, I'm capable of more. Now I'm going to do more. Maybe some people can just simply say that and do it. But for me, it's been a process of development and improvements and creating good habits and breaking bad habits. And, it to me does seem like a process that you have to, or I've had to evolve into, to being ready and willing to take these risks again after falling on my face with this big complex plan, making it part of my identity, then running away from that life, making my, what future I thought I had out living in a ski town, dramatically changed and was less fruitful than thought when I got injured really bad. And I put so much in to that business, and all I walked away with was a bunch of debt and bad credit, and that's what I thought. Now I know it was knowledge and experience and appreciation for success when it happens and what it takes to get there and what you should do to preserve and protect what you build, what I build. So I'm working on the big master plan. There's a lot of pieces. You'll see this come together over the next, I would love to have it happen sooner, but I'm in it for the long haul. Is it going to take 2, 3, 5 years? Whenever it is, I'm going to have the handcuffs of society off of me. We'll see. I think I can buy land with cash, and the only debt I would really choose to take on, only necessary debt or potentially an investment with an upside, but like land that will appreciate. At the same time, I'd rather be able to do stuff with cash at this point in life, because a big part of my desire for self-sustainability and freedom is removing the anxiety of debt and the ways that it can handcuff you or force you to spend time doing things you don't want to do to pay for it, instead of investing time and energy and money into things you do want to do that are worthwhile to invest in. So my goal is to hopefully stay out of debt as I build and develop this, and changing my mindset from the ski town, from barely surviving, to recognizing everything I can do for myself, I think is a big part of that, and I'm seeing it now. When each time I see a step or phase of this process playing out as planned, it's going to be a hell of a good feeling. And one of the big things I learned from my first business is, follow the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid. I need something where I can get something important done 100%. And then move on to the next thing, not have a dozen things all that could potentially pay off big and see them all in 10 or 20% and get distracted and inundated with parts of the other ones and missing out on the core purpose of the business. And, there's a lot of lessons you learn that you can't even, I could put into words, and other entrepreneurs and people who have had their strikeouts and made it back and found success later will probably, would really recognize that. I don't know if any of you guys have stuck with this podcast for that long, but for any successful entrepreneurs out there that have picked yourselves up, dusted yourself off, and saw your dream through to fruition, thanks for checking me out. I can't wait for you to see what I've got in store for the future. So I am going to wrap this up, get it all onto the computer so it can be edited, and we'll see if I cut it together tonight. I have a feeling, 7:21? I try to get into bed between 8 and 9 so I can get up at 4 and go work out most days. So we're going to get this into the computer, and I'm going to get this podcast and the other two kind of little practice casts that I did knocked out here soon. Take care. Be safe. Remember that the golden rule has no exceptions, and you need no religion to want to treat others how you want to be treated. So take care of each other. Blow off the things that don't matter. Kick ass at life. And I'm out.